One of the easiest ways of retaining about the inscriptions is the use of map. In this session, we are going to discuss about some super important inscriptions for UPSC exam. Let's start with the first one, Mehrauli pillar inscription. Now, if we talk about Mehrauli pillar inscription is from Delhi, and basically this has been found within the Qutub complex. What do you mean by Qutub complex? Within the Qutub Minar complex, we have found this Mehrauli pillar inscription as well. This inscription is very old, and this is basically from the time of the greatest Gupta ruler, Chandragupta II. So this pillar inscription talks about the achievements of Chandragupta II, the greatest Gupta ruler. Not only this, the pillar is made up of rustless iron, and that also describes about the development in the technology of metallurgy in times of the Guptas. Second information that we can have here is that the Banskhera inscription is from UP. Banskhera inscription is in UP, and basically this gives the detail of the achievements of the great ruler Harshvardhan. Harshvardhan was from Pushyabhuti dynasty, and his initial political capital was at Sthaneshwar, but later his political capital was in Kannauj. Then the third information that we can have here is that if you talk about the Allahabad pillar inscription, now you should be careful here that when you talk about Allahabad, we have also got the Ashokan inscription from Allahabad. But for Ashokan inscriptions, we will deal a separate session in next video. If you talk about the Allahabad pillar inscription, here we should know that a very important fact is that Samudragupt's Prayag Prashasti, Samudragupt Prayag Prashasti had been found from Allahabad. This Prayag Prashasti was written by the court poet and one of the ministers of Samudragupt, that was Harisen. Again, additional information that you should have here, that this Samudragupt Prayag Prashasti is written below the inscription of Ashoka that we have found from Allahabad. Again, if we talk about another information, you should know about the Bhitari pillar inscription. Now, Bhitari pillar inscription has been found from UP, and the Bhitari pillar inscription basically talks about the achievements of the great Gupta ruler Skandagupta. The last prominent Gupta ruler was Skandagupta, and he was the last Gupta ruler who was successful in defending against the Huna attack. Who were the Hunas? The Central Asian invading tribe. They were the Hunas, and one of the reasons why later Guptas they would decline, because they would fail to tackle the attack of the Hunas. Again, the next important information that we can have here is that Hathigumpha inscription. Now, Hathigumpha and Ranigumpha. No? Hathigumpha and Ranigumpha were the caves constructed by the great Jaina ruler Kharvel. So he was Jain follower, and he was basically the ruler from Kalinga area, and he was from Theri dynasty. In around 1st century BC, he ruled over Kalinga area. Now, the achievements of Kharvel in Prakrit, they have been given in Hathigumpha and Ranigumpha caves. Additional information that Kharvel was a Jain follower, so he constructed the caves and dedicated it to the Jain monks. Now, a super important inscription is Aihole inscription. The famous Aihole inscription is from Karnataka. This gives the description of the achievements of the great Chalukyan ruler Pulkesh II. And the description also says that Pulkesh II defeated the ruler of North India, Harshvardhan. Now, this inscription was written by the court poet of Pulkesh II, Ravikirti. Again, a super important inscription is Junagarh inscription. Junagarh inscription. Junagarh inscription is in Gujarat, and this is basically from the time of Rudradaman. Rudradaman I. Rudradaman I was the Shaka ruler, and the most famous Shaka ruler was Rudradaman I. The inscription also gives the detail that Rudradaman I repaired a lake that was called Lake Sudarshan. The lake was actually constructed in times of the Guptas, but it was repaired in times of the Shaka ruler Rudradaman I. Now, if we talk about the inscription, another important thing that we should know about the Junagarh inscription, that it is considered the first long inscription in Sanskrit, pure Sanskrit in ancient India. That is what is the importance of this Junagarh inscription. Then another information that we can have here is Uttaramerur inscription. Now, if we talk about super important Uttaramerur inscription, the Uttaramerur inscriptions, we have found it nearby Kanchipuram. And the Uttaramerur inscription basically gives the details of the local self-government, like a structure which was prevalent in the villages of the time of imperial Cholas. And this was basically in time of the description comes basically from the time of the imperial Chola ruler Parantak I. It's super important to know that one of the most special characteristic of the Chola administration was that they developed a very efficient local self-government like thing in villages. Now, this local self-governance in villages, basically that was looked after by different committees. All this description we get from super important Uttaramerur inscription. The next important information that we can have here is about the Nanaghat inscription. Nanaghat inscription. Nanaghat inscription is in Maharashtra. And this gives the detail of the achievement of the Satvahanas, particularly the Satvahana ruler Satkarni I. One great Satvahana ruler was Satkarni I. The achievements of Satvahana ruler Satkarni I. It has been inscribed in Nanaghat inscription by his wife Nayamika, who was also called Nagamika. Another super important information is Nasik inscription. Now, Nasik inscription again is from Maharashtra. And Nasik inscription gives the detail of the greatest Satvahana ruler, Gautami Putra Satkarni. So, Gautami Putra Satkarni was the greatest of the Satvahana ruler. Then, the description that comes here in this Nasik inscription, basically it was given by mother of Gautami Putra Satkarni. Her name was Gautami Balashri. Again, if we talk about another important information, we should know that if we talk about the famous ELEARN inscription, ELEARN is a place in MP. ELEARN is a place in MP. अब याद रखेंगे, when we talk about ELEARN inscription, we have found so many rulers and so many achievements and so many inscriptions from ELEARN. But if we talk about the most important thing that we should know about the exam, we should know about the ELEARN inscription of Bhanugupt. Bhanugupt was one of the later Gupta rulers, and Bhanugupt inscription is the first inscriptional evidence of sati in India. So the first inscriptional evidence of sati in India comes from the ELEARN inscription of the times of Bhanugupt. ELEARN is a place in MP. Another important information that we can have here is that if we talk about the famous Besnagar inscription, Besnagar earlier was called Besnagar. Earlier was called Vidisa. So Vidisa, Besnagar or Bhilsa is a place in MP, and it is known for the inscription by Heliodorus. Heliodorus was the Indo-Greek ambassador, and he was coming to the court of Kasiputra Bhagwat, who was a Sunga ruler. And in Besnagar or in Vidisa, he constructed the Garud Dhwaj inscription that was dedicated to Vishnu, that showed his dedication towards Vaishnavism, and that would also indicate that by this time Vaishnavism was becoming very prominent. Another super important information that we can have here is about the Mandsaur inscription. If we talk about the Mandsaur inscription, Mandsaur is a place in MP. It's a place in MP. Here we get the information about a ruler of Malwa, Yashodharman. Yashodharman was a famous ruler of Malwa, and he defeated, we get the description here in Mandsaur inscription that he defeated the Hunas. Just now we discussed that the Hunas, they were the invading Central Asian tribe, and by the end of ancient time, the entire North India was getting destabilized because of the attacks of the Hunas. Now, this is what I wanted to discuss with you in this session. In another session, we are going to take the map, and with the help of map, we are again going to discuss about the Ashokan inscriptions. So, very exhaustive detail would come from Ashokan inscriptions, and that is why I have kept a separate map session for that. Thank you so much.